everyone, I'm Allie. Join me in this project, and remember, if you need any materials for it, you can check below the video in the description to shop with us online. Get your bead on it board and let's get started. So going back to the basics here, I have my materials of a cup button, a 4x6mm jade teardrop. Then I also have my 15-0s in gold and that nice opaque turquoise green color. My Evas in copper and my disc duos are in the jet Picasso. I have 2 needles, so we're going back to 2 needles, people, with my size 12 beading needle and .006 wildfire beading thread in the green color. I'm going to have about 5 feet of that. And the first thing that I'm going to do is pick up a set of 3 of my 15-0 seed beads. 1 gold, 1 turquoise, 1 gold. I'm going to let that drop down to the bottom of those 2 needles. I have 1 needle on each side of that 5 foot of thread. And I'm also going to put on the cup button facing down. That's going to get that pop of color right there in the center of the cup button. I want to grab one of my needles and I'm going to reinforce. I'm going back up through the cup button, circling around through the opposite hole, going through the seed beads there, back down through the cup button. That's going to work to kind of lock that in place and also puts a second strand through the button. That's going to get us set up and ready now to get our pattern started with our disc duos and also with our Eva beads. To continue, I've placed a grouping of 3 seed beads, then 1 of my drops, and then another 1 of my seed beads in the gold color on each needle of my thread. I'm going to get ready now to capture in that disc duo between my 2 Eva beads. I'm going to take my needle on the right and I'm going to go through the exterior of the Eva, going in towards the center of the V, go through the disc duo and go through another Eva bead through that bottom hole. With my other needle now, I'm going to repeat that going the opposite direction. So I'm going through the Eva, the disc duo, and the Eva, and pulling so I have equal amounts of thread on both needles. On the exterior then here, I'm going to do a pattern always of 3 of my 11-0 seed beads, or sorry, 3 of my 15-0 seed beads in the gold color, followed by turquoise, gold, turquoise, followed by 3 more in the gold. Your needle and thread then go from the bottom hole of the Eva bead to the top hole of the Eva bead. At the same time, while this needle is in my hand, I'm going to go through the disc duo and over to the other side of the second Eva bead. Once you have that on one side and that's captivated in there and captured in there, I'm going to do the same thing and do my pattern here of my seed beads that are going to go on the exterior, and then in through the Eva, through the disc duo, and through the other Eva bead. So it's just on repeat there. So anytime a needle goes one way, the other needle is going to cross through the opposite direction. I had a much more complicated project, honestly, that I was doing with these materials, and I liked getting back to just this single basic strand. Give a nice tight pull, and that's going to get that disc duo right in the center of those Eva beads. From here, we're going to repeat. So our repeat is a 15-0, 1 of our drops, and a 15-0. So just like we did before the first set of Evas, we're doing a 15, drop 15. That's on the right-hand side. I'm going to pick up an Eva, a disc duo, another Eva, again, so it's captured in there, and then repeat once again on the other side. Gold 15, turquoise drop, gold 15, go into that same set and take your needle through the opposite direction, coming out after the Eva bead. Pulling that down, that leaves a nice little open space right between each one of these Eva beads. I'm going to go in now and do my seed beads along the side, adding 3 gold, 1 turquoise, gold, turquoise, 3 gold, and then continuing the process over and over again. It's a nice simple design with a nice elegant look at the end, which is going to sit wonderfully right on the wrist. So once you have your length, it's time to do your clasp. So I'm coming out of the last set here of my captive Evas and my disc duos, and I've added, just like at the start of the piece, my 1 15-0 followed by my drop, and then followed by 3 of my 15-0s in the gold color. I've then taken the 1 needle and picked up 32 of my 15-0 seed beads. I'm going to take that same needle and go back through the first of those 32 beads to create that loop. On the other side then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reinforce and take my thread and needle back through all of these beads as well. So I'm going up through all of them, making sure that I'm not skipping any beads, because if you skip beads, you'll be able to see the thread on the exterior. And if you want to, you could do this in a peyote style, adding some gold beads to the exterior as well. I'm just going to keep it nice and easy and simple. Once you're down through that line of seed beads then, and back down through that 15-0 as well, I'm going to give a nice tight pull, making sure we don't have any extra thread showing. And then all we need to do is tie off these threads. So to tie off the threads, I'm going to take one of my thread and needle down through the right side. Right there. I'm going to then go through my Eva and my disc duo and up through the Eva bead as well. And I'm going to let this needle sit out here and wait. Who wants to go through that seed bead? Just come on out. There we go. All right, and to finish off this side, I'm going to go down through the seed beads on this side, down through the drop, through the seed bead after, and guess what? My thread ends are right back at the same spot, and I'm just going to simply tie my thread ends together to finish off the piece. It's the great thing when you're working with 2 needles, that you have a really, really easy opportunity to get started and an easy opportunity to end. You don't have to think about how to tie them off and what steps you're going to take. If you want to, you can separate out your needles. I'm not going to worry about it. Just take my thread burner or my threads out, burn down those thread edges, and finish up this fun and easy bracelet. You can see how here it looks on the wrist, that nice turquoise with Cheryl's suggestion of the copper, making it pop. Thanks again so much for joining me in this captive design. Remember, if you do need any materials, check out in the description below the video the links to purchase from us online. Remember also, if you're on a mobile or if you're on an iPad, check that little down arrow to get to that description if you're having trouble. As always, we love to hear your comments and feedback, so if you're going to change anything up, want to see different colors or use different beads, make sure to give that feedback in the comments below. Have fun creating, and remember to stay tuned for the next video.